Rapid combustion. In the Ningxia region of China, a truck stops at a gas station to fill up. When the driver turns the ignition to drive away, an inferno erupts as if from nowhere. It's scary how quickly it had started, especially since it began for no discernible reason, but watch closely. A few seconds into the video, you'll see some strange liquid on the floor, and we speculate that the liquid must be highly flammable. The driver bolted out of the truck, seeking safety away from the furnace, but the quick thinking of the gas station attendants ensured that the fire was contained in 3 minutes. They were super fast with the fire extinguishers, and you can see the fire threatening to erupt even with the onslaught of them. One of the attendants spoke later about how instinctive the act was. He wasn't thinking of his own safety, he just knew he had to douse the fire or something far more dangerous might follow the outbreak. What would you do in that split second if you were in his position? Scary gunpoint robbery. Looking at this video without the commentary, everything appears to be normal. It's just a man in a long black coat hunched over a counter, but do you notice his hand under the counter? On the other side of it, you can see the thief's hand inside the counter with a gun pointed at the cashier, who must be scared to death as he watches the gun pointed straight at him. Everything was captured on the gas station's surveillance camera. This event took place after midnight at a gas station in Canarsie, Brooklyn. The store attendant was robbed of his mobile phone, while about $500 was taken from the cash register. While we see just the one robber with the gun, police say the black coat wearing robber had an accomplice with him. Disturbing robbery at a Bronx gas station. The most disturbing part of this video is the casual manner the armed robber pulled out his gun and loaded it with careless abandon in the middle of the convenience store. It happened at a Bronx gas station. It wasn't dark, the robbery took place in the morning, yet the robber and his accomplice both waltzed into the store like it's the most common thing in the world to walk into one in the middle of the day and whip out a gun. The event was caught on the gas station's surveillance camera, and you can see the criminals in dark clothing, a nose mask keeping their identities obscured as they go about their deadly business. Carjacking at a gas station. Is he aware of the camera? You ask immediately after you see the video. He had walked up close, tying something around his neck as he takes that leisurely walk towards the surveillance camera. He stops moments before he exits the frame, almost like he's aware that the camera's there. This is a carjacker who moments afterwards stole the car that you see on the screen, chasing the original owners out of the vehicle and driving off quickly. Watch as the owner of the vehicle exits and walks to the front of the car like someone had sent him out of it. The carjacker must have had a weapon on him to inspire such terror in the hearts of the others. Watch the terror as the ladies are forced out of the vehicle. They run off quickly, scared of something, and feel they needed to get as far away as possible. I wonder whether they found the car, but most importantly, I hope the ladies aren't traumatized by what they just witnessed. The Halloween masked robber. This incident occurred on Middle Country Road in Coram, Long Island. The man in a red Halloween mask and a green top walks into the store. Again, his casual walk towards the cashier is as disturbing as the gun he has in his hands. He demands cash from the cashier, who then hands it to him in a bag over the counter. Only the cashier's hand was seen, but we're sure he was scared out of his mind and might have been shaking like a leaf at the sight of that pistol. The Halloween masked robber took the cash from the cashier and ran out into the night. Fire suppression system malfunction. This incident took place in Massachusetts, where you can see a gas station with nothing out of the ordinary happening in and around it, but that changed pretty quickly. When it happens, you'll think an avalanche of snow was coming up from the ground, but what you see is the foam from the fire suppression system, which usually kicks in the event of the fire. But in this case, the system malfunctioned and saturated the whole gas station with foam. It covered the whole place from the ground to the top, swallowed up the cars, and had everyone within the space covered quickly in the white foam. Reports showed that a few people had difficulty breathing, and if we're being completely honest, there's something quite beautiful in the sight. Of course, it would have been very effective in the event of an actual fire, but in this instance, it was simply a malfunction which had to be fixed. Trucks burn at a gas station. Watch the thick black smoke and the red plumes of fire as it looks away at this gas station. You can hear the voice of someone in the background, a bystander probably speaking to someone else.
They just come out! Yeah! 2 trucks!
2 trucks is mentioned as a reference to the number of the vehicles involved in it. The fiery explosion climbing so high into the atmosphere above the gas station, and the thick smoke tells you that the magnitude of this disturbing event is huge. If you look closely to the side, you'll see the fire spreading beyond the trees at the edge of the gas station, but you can also hear the one sound you want to hear when some fire disaster is happening: fire trucks pulling up on the scene. It gives you some hope that the event will soon be under control. When dominoes fall dangerously. The first thing to know before watching this video, no one was seriously hurt. Not one. But that's not immediately clear with the magnitude of the crash you just witnessed. Look closely on the street and watch as the fire truck is going on its own across the screen when a Lincoln SUV comes out of nowhere and chaos reigns. When the fire truck slams into the SUV hits a utility pole while the fire truck careens into the gas station on the side of the road and smashes a van against the metal pole of the station and starts a small fire. Everyone close enough to the scene starts running quickly, trying to get as far away as possible for fear of an explosion. The vehicle involved in this chaotic coming together has 6 people in them, 3 firefighters and a family of 3, and luckily no one was seriously hurt. Here's the kicker. In the summer of 2019, the same situation, same fire truck, and same location have the same outcome. The truck slams into something across the road, and someone has to go do something about that. This is the craziest way to wake up. The first question that pops into your head when you watch this video is, how did that car get there? Did it plow through the back door, or is there a more interesting backstory here? It's definitely a page-turner. This happened at a Midtown gas station. An employee of the gas station spotted the driver sleeping in his car at the pub. He immediately woke the man up, the man's foot slid off the brakes, and the car just rolled straight through the front doors of the building. Have you ever had to wake up with such troubles in the past? It's the funniest way to wake up I've ever seen, but for the man involved, there's no laughter. The police arrested him. I can't tell you why, because this appears to be an accident, right? But such accidents only happen when you're really drunk. Weirdest robbery ever. A man walked into a gas station wearing nothing. Absolutely nothing except for the machete which he was brandishing when he walked in and demanded to have someone's phone, cash, and clothes. Imagine a naked man telling you to hand him your clothes. Scary, isn't it? Eyewitnesses say he threw the machete at the victim, even after the victim complied with his request. Fortunately, he isn't the best at throwing. Out in the parking lot, before the police caught up with him, he was still naked and yelling at people in an animated way. You'll see him in the street, disturbing the peace and forcing cars to pause momentarily. Cars avoided him as he walked with careless abandon like he owned the asphalt. In the final clip, you'll see the police chasing down on him as he now lays flat on his stomach. It appears the individual is a convicted felon and the police have simply returned him to the prison where he belongs. Woman tears store apart. Everything looks calm when this video opens, but if you look beyond the man in denim and the woman in black pants, waiting patiently, there's another woman at the cashier's table waving her hand frantically. Can you see her yet? If you didn't see her earlier, wait for all hell to break loose and you'll see her in her full fury, pushing things off their stands, pulling goods down, and scattering everything like she just entered beast mode. She didn't stop there. She tries to open the door, and when it doesn't give, she kicks and pulls, pulling all of her weight onto the door to force it to open up, but it still won't give. Seeing that it wasn't going to open, she stops and begins to pace back and forth while dialing someone on her phone. Frankly, I half expected to see someone drive up to the doors and ram it right through with a truck or something, but she stays on the phone, talking and talking until the end of the video. I hear the mayhem all happened because of a hold charge on her credit card, which explains why she couldn't get out the door when she tried, but we have to give it to her. She fought like a caged animal. Gas station pump exposed. Can you discuss tragedies at gas stations without touching on gas pump scams? That's the real tragedy, and with gas prices at an all-time high, it's even more tragic how people scheme and steal. You can see 2 drivers pull up to a gas station parked on both sides of the pumps. They swap the nozzles quickly before one of the cars drives away while the other car stays behind with the right nozzle in his tank, waiting for unsuspecting customers. When one drives up and sticks the fake nozzle in his tank, the thief immediately starts the meter so the victim thinks he's putting fuel in his tank, when in essence, he's paying for the thief's gas. The gas station manager caught everything on camera and went on to teach people a quick check that they could try to make sure they're actually controlling the pump or that they're connected to the rise nozzle. A quick pause, moments after you started the meter, will show you if something's wrong or not. When you pause the nozzle, take a look at the meter. If it's still reading, then something is off. Criminal couple steals from gas station. This couple is prolific and has hit at least 4 gas stations in a single weekend. They're not just prolific, they're brazen, as their criminal activities all occur during the day without the darkness of the night to provide cover. Watch as this man parks his car at the back of the shop. He finds a way to climb up over the electrical conduit at the back of the building and makes his way to the roof. He quickly covers the store's satellite dish with a small piece of foil to prevent it from working. That's just the first part of the plan. The second part of the plan is to use a stolen credit card to make purchases inside the store without the cashier being alerted to credit card fraud. This is why they needed to stop the satellite from working, and the second part of the plan is already underway as the man's wife, or in this case, better half, is in the store browsing products to buy. Daring as daring can be. Break in a gas station store. The surveillance camera captures the interior of the store at night. You can see there's no activities going on in there. No employee or management can be seen within the store. Now look to the top right corner and you'll see when the break-in started. Something is happening, and in a moment, you'll see a man run into the store, climb over the counter, and quickly rummage through, grabbing the things that he wanted. Another figure soon follows behind him, this time a female who jumps over the counter as well and grabs what she wants before making her way out of the store through the same opening they had made to the right. Comic relief. Can you see as this drunk guy walks into the gas station's convenience store, making his way down the aisle? Now look closely and you'll notice that he's weaving on his feet. His drunkenness is even clearer. It's obvious he can't stand on his feet. His weaving and inability to keep himself upright is obvious as he tries to open the fridge. There he hits the ground in an epic fall, and for a long time he tries to get back on his feet. There's an older man at the other aisle who notices the drunk and comes over to help him. They get him up and start him on his merry way, but then he gets to the door and couldn't open it, and instead falls backwards again and finally lands on his butt while struggling to get back on his feet. The chase and the shots. Do you ever wonder if some things are totally unnecessary? This incident occurred on the 5th of May 2023, and for all intents and purposes, the whole drama could have been avoided. Hector Macias was confronted by LAPD officers on patrol along the Manchester Boulevard and Hoover Street area. It was merely routine as he was observed with another female leaving an ATM point on Hoover Street. The cops, who were still in their cruiser, spoke to Hector without stepping out of the car just as Hector and his lady partner made their way towards a white Mercedes-Benz parked at a gas station. Take note of the satchel Hector has slung across his chest. What happens next was sudden and jarring. The Benz kicked to life without warning. Hector and his lady friend moved in tandem, jumping into the Mercedes quickly. It's at this time that we notice that there's a third party behind the wheel. The police are forced to give chase. The officers didn't just give chase alone. They suspect Hector of being armed, so they called in a 415, man with a gun. It's a serious chase as the cops request air support as well as the support of other units within the area.
All units on all frequencies stand by. Each day 1 is in pursuit of 415 man with a gun, eastbound Manchester.
There's likely no hiding place for Hector and his accomplice's flashy white Mercedes. Seeing that they're cornered, the driver of the Mercedes stops the car and Hector goes rushing out. The cop gives a clear command, stop or I'll shoot, but Hector wasn't listening.
Hey, stop or I'll shoot!
There must be some impulse in him to call a bluff or a total lack of awareness that this end is here, but he didn't stop.
Turn the fucking round!
As he continues on foot, trying to evade the officers who are right behind him, Hector trips and falls to the pavement. But he's not done yet. While the police try to pin him down, he quickly rummages through his satchel and whips out a gun. At this point, the script is written. What happens next is best left unsaid, as the cops assumed their lives were in danger and reacted accordingly. The Fentanyl Man. When you talk of a drug problem in our world today, it always sounds so abstract, like something happening elsewhere and not enough reason to worry. But what if it's time to start? Florida police found a man asleep in his car at a gas station, and from the moment this man comes into view, it's obvious he's under the influence of some very serious substance. The cause wasn't far-fetched, as the cops could smell the odor of marijuana oozing out of the car.
Sheriff's office! Hey, Sheriff's office!
His explanation for being on that spot, asleep at that hour of the day, was quite simple. It was about 3:30 a.m. He said, I stopped to take a nap.
To take a nap.
Okay.
Damn, I forgot I passed out behind the gas station. I asked the guy to stop. I was like, man, let me take a nap out back.
While he spoke, he still had his marijuana wrapped and held between his teeth while an officer of the law was speaking to him. When he asked his name, he begins to stutter and lie about his name. The officer immediately realizes that something's up.
I got you. Sorry. Try not to blind you. What's your first name?
Justin?
Justin?
Yeah.
Do you have a middle initial?
Huh?
Middle initial? Middle name?
The man's ordered to keep his hand on the dash while the cops search the vehicle.
Do me a favor, Wilson. Keep your hands up on that dash. Nope. Sit up. Sit up. Keep your hands on that dash where I can see them. You understand?
What they unearth will blow your mind. Besides the loaded syringes, which along with the wrap of marijuana on the man's lip would explain his state, the cops found a ton of fentanyl.
Holy. Yeah? Hey.
You can hear the moment the cop exclaimed loudly at the content of the man's bag. Police say the fentanyl found on this man would be enough to kill the entire population of the county and a neighboring county as well. Drugs being trafficked in this quantity are a great menace and remain a danger to society. The pepper spray affair. What happens when cops from different agencies get into it on the road? Your guess is as good as mine. This footage shows a confrontation that occurred during a routine traffic stop in December of 2020.
Falling back.
Everything happened at a gas station in Windsor where patrol officers stopped a vehicle with a lone occupant.
Put your hands out the window! Felony traffic stop, 1836.
Put your hands out the window! Turn the vehicle off! Put your hands out the window!
They stopped, yelling commands while the occupant of the car can be heard asking in a gentle voice what's going on.
How many occupants are in your vehicle? Open the door slowly and step out! Open the door!
You'd immediately think that these officers had an axe to grind with whoever's in the car. When the occupant comes into view, the first thing you notice is that he's complying with the commands.
Get out of the car now! What's going on is you're fixing to ride the lightning, son. Get out of the car now! Get out of the car now! Get out of the car!
Sir, just get out the car! Work with us and we'll talk to you. Get out the car!
You received an order. Obey it!
The second thing you notice is that he's a military man in uniform. Come on, aren't we on the same team? The occupant of the vehicle happens to be a second lieutenant in the United States Army. But there's one order the soldier didn't obey. He didn't get out of the car per the instructions of the patrol cops.
I'm honestly afraid to get out. Get out.
Yeah, you should be. Get out!
What's
Get out!
Get out the car!
Get out now!
I have not committed any crime.
His refusal to comply with commands had the patrolmen very agitated and they almost pull him out of the car forcefully. The lieutenant tries to play the sister force card and get some leniency.
You're being detained, okay? You're being detained for obstruction of justice?
Traffic violation. I do not have to get out your vehicle. You haven't even told
Really?
me why I'm being stopped.
Really?
Get your
Get
hands,
out of the car now! Get out of the car!
get your hands off me.
Get out of the car.
Get your hands off me.
You know what?
Get your hands off me.
He explains to the cops that he's actively serving the country, a way of inspiring some sort of special treatment, but the cops weren't moved and in the moment something disturbing happens.
Look, I'm trying to talk
Get out.
to you.
Okay.
I'm trying to
I'm
talk.
Get out.
Just get out of my car. Can you please
Get out.
relax? Can
Get
you
out.
Please relax.
Get out of the car right now!
This is
Now!
not how you treat a vet. I'm actively serving this country, and this is how you're gonna treat me.
Back up, Daniel.
I didn't do anything.
Back up.
One of the cops stretched his hand out and sprayed pepper spray right in the lieutenant's face. It wasn't just once or twice, he does this as much as 3 times. The lieutenant, with closed eyes, finally complies with the order to exit his car, but the cops weren't done. They push him to the ground even as he continues to refuse to obey their orders fully.
Let's go.
Available.
Get on the ground. Get on the
Can you
ground.
please talk to
Get
me
on the
about
ground
what's
now.
going on?
Get on the ground or you're getting sprayed again. Get on the ground.
Can you please talk to me about what's
Get on the
going
ground. Get on the ground now.
The second lieutenant has dragged the cops involved into the court for what he fairly considers excessive use of force. Officer-involved shooting. This video was taken on a November evening at a Shell gas station in Oahu, Hawaii. In the week leading up to this day, a string of crimes have been committed, including 2 armed robberies and carjackings, all linked to 2 men, Michael Kaheleho and Melvin Spillner. The topless man in white shorts is Melvin Spillner, while his partner in sports jacket and black pants is Kaheleho. While they filled the tank of their vehicle, probably a stolen one, at the Shell gas station, the police received a credible tip about their whereabouts and pulled up quickly to the scene in unmarked vehicles. The moment the police arrive, all hell breaks loose. Criminals always run at the side of the law, and the moment Spillner saw the cops, he took to his heels. A cop tackles him in a swift move you only see in the movies, except this is real. Michael, seeing the melee, throws the car into gear and tries to get away. The moment he rams through 2 police cars, the officers open fire on his vehicle in a bid to stop him. They succeeded in stopping him just as his vehicle goes off the screen. His partner Spillner is pinned to the ground by some officers while others are taking care of Kaheleho. Everything ended as quickly as it had begun, with the suspects in custody and none of the officers facing charges for excessive use of force, as they were all adjudged to have been within their rights, especially in firing on the car with Michael inside. Armed robbery caught on tape. This footage shows a gas station attendant in Coral Springs, Florida being held at gunpoint on July 20th of 23. At around 5 in the morning, an armed person came into the Chevron station demanding money. The person is hidden behind a cap, sunglasses, and a mask to conceal their identity. Throughout the ordeal, the gunman keeps one hand on their gun and the other on the clerk's shirt to keep them from escaping. Regular customers were shocked to find that such a fearless robbery had taken place in their neighborhood, which they describe as being generally quiet.
Hopefully they catch this person, you don't want them going to another gas station or hurting somebody else.
Do you expect anything like that to happen in an area
like this? No. This area is very nice, very quiet, very nice.
Kidnapping suspect escapes from the trunk. Kidnapping and human trafficking are huge problems in the US as well as in the rest of the world. Unfortunately, many victims do not get the chance to escape, as the subject of this video did. It starts with a seemingly innocuous car pulling into a gas station in Alabama. As the car comes to a stop, the driver goes into the convenience store. Moments later, the trunk of the car pops open and a young woman runs out. Footage from inside the store shows the man casually walking around when the young woman runs in. Without even attempting to grab her again, the man dashes out of the door and into his car. He closes the trunk and speeds off, likely unaware that he's been on camera the entire time. Police later identified the victim as Brittany Diggs, who used the light on her insulin pump to find the release hatch and make her dramatic escape. Attempted arrest turns deadly. U.S. Marshals operating in Charlotte, North Carolina attempted to arrest fugitive Frankie Jennings in March of 21. Jennings was wanted on several active warrants, including assault with a deadly weapon against a law enforcement officer. The March 23 footage shows Jennings pulling into a Citgo station just after 11 o'clock and exiting the car. He seems to have contacts in another vehicle that pull up at the pump opposite of him. As he begins to pump gas into the other vehicle, 2 undercover cars rocket into the gas station. Frankie initially puts his hands up, but then he decides to make a run for the driver's side of the car. Marshals soon realized Jennings was going for a gun in the cup holder. Worried that he'd use the weapon or attempt to hit one of the officers, Marshals fired 3 shots, resulting in Jennings' death. Deadly shooting near pub. In late July of 23, a 35-year-old man was shot in the chest by a gunman outside Hunter's Pub in Houston. Surveillance footage shows the gunman speaking with a woman and a man before pouring his beer out and handing the empty jug to the young lady. After a few more minutes of discussion, the shooter, later identified as 22-year-old Gabriel Garcia, gestures to his car before a young woman and a man exit. As the man attempts to engage Garcia, he pulls out a pistol, chasing him back inside. That's when the victim exits and confronts Garcia, who shoots him in the chest. The argument apparently started over whether or not Garcia could take his beer outside. He later turned himself in to police. Drunk driver plows into gas station. Although not all encounters at gas stations turn deadly, sometimes that's only due to sheer luck. In April of 2019, a woman accidentally drove her vehicle directly into a Circle K gas station, scaring the clerk and moving the counter by at least 3 or 4 feet. Though she stayed at the scene and nobody was injured, she was later charged with driving while intoxicated and will likely face a huge insurance bill. 4-men attempt gas station robbery. One gunman is scary enough, but imagine being a gas station clerk and having to stare down 4 armed men at once. That's precisely what happened to a North Houston gas station worker in May of 23, where 4 men approached the counter and pointed their weapons directly at him. The clerk wisely opened the register and allowed them to take as much money as possible along with some cigarettes. Aside from being a bit shaken up, the clerk was fortunately not hurt. Man takes sledgehammer to gas station slot machine. In May of 23, an Atlanta man was at an Exxon gas station near some of the gambling machines. After disappearing off cam for a few minutes, he returns with a small sledgehammer and begins striking the machine. Though not visible, reports indicate that the man's accomplice pointed a gun at the clerk when he attempted to call 911. Both men then gave up on the coin machine and instead robbed the gas station itself, making off with roughly $1,000. Man tries to set gas station on fire. Robbery and assault are terrible crimes, but at least they have motives. In June of 23, a man attempted to set fire to a Detroit gas station by dumping trash on the floor and then lighting it with a handheld torch. The fire ended up trapping the frightened clerk behind the counter. Though he did escape, he had to be treated for first-degree burns. The suspect was eventually caught and charged with a litany of crimes, including arson and attempted murder. Gas station carjacking caught on tape. A brazen robbery took place at a Texas gas station in the middle of the July heat. At around 3:30 in the morning, a man was walking out of his car from the gas station convenience store when 3 men surrounded him, pointed a gun at him, and demanded his car keys. He quickly gave out the keys and the men all piled into the car. However, they still decided to fire several shots out of the windows as they drove away. Footage from inside the store shows the suspects milling around and apparently taking turns using the bathroom. Immediately upon exiting, they confront the man, taking his belongings before taking his keys. The car was found the next day abandoned, but at least nobody was hurt. 12-year-old boy robs Michigan gas station. This footage shows a 12-year-old boy who robbed a gas station in Hartford, Michigan back in 22. The juvenile enters and patiently waits for the customer in front of him to pay. The entire time he's holding a bag with one of his hands carefully concealed inside. After the customer leaves, another customer gets in line behind the boy. Still, he bravely approaches the clerk and tells her to put the money in the bag.
Put the money in the bag. What? Put the money in the bag. Are you serious?
When she doesn't comply, he fires his weapon once into the air. She then reaches into the safe and gives him the cash, telling him to get out.
Here, get out, Bryce. Here, take it.
The young man was caught by police soon after. Violent outburst at New Mexico gas station. Though weapons are far more effective, it's sometimes surprising the amount of damage a person can do with just their hands. This was the case at a Donna Ana, New Mexico gas station when a man named Eli Silva walked in and immediately began screaming at the clerk. Within seconds, he starts grabbing things off the counter, throwing items to the clerk and destroying shelves of snacks and products. He even grabs the clerk's computer, though it's unclear whether he's trying to retrieve money or simply disable it. Silva finally heads outside where he roughly throws a dog from a car before assaulting the owner. At this point, bystanders begin to interfere, chasing the frenzied man off. Silva was later arrested and charged with battery and animal cruelty. Gas station thief steals camera from car. California is known to be one of the biggest states for property theft from vehicles. This footage from Irving shows just how quickly thieves can strike when a car is left unattended. In this case, a suspect pulled up at a Chevron and immediately began looking around at cars getting gas. Seeing that one of the cars was unlocked, the man grabbed a bag containing an expensive Fuji camera from the front seat. The incident happened in the middle of the day, and it only took a few seconds for the thief to make off with his prize. Suspected drunk driver destroys 2 gas pumps. This footage also comes from California, only this time it's from the small desert city of Indio. It shows a suspected drunk driver who'd recently fled from police crashing into 2 gas station pumps, causing them to burst into flames. Both the man and his dog survived the crash despite the incredible amount of damage done to the gas station. Cell phone footage from nearby workers shows just how bad the situation was. Estimates put the damage at around $100,000, and the 24-year-old driver now faces a litany of charges, including animal cruelty. Man opens fire on police officer at gas station. Citizens pulling guns on other citizens is bad enough, but imagine having the nerve to pull a weapon on a cop. Still, that's just what happened on the evening of April 19, 2022, when Pinellas Park Police Department officers responded to a local Circle K over reports of a domestic disturbance. The footage shows an officer arriving at the gas station and approaching the rear of a car, only to have someone open the back door and open fire at him. The officer leaps to the ground and calls for backup, having been hit in the bicep. The shooter, later identified as Calvin Brockington, then goes inside the store and demands that a random customer give him his keys.
Give me your keys now. Give me your fucking keys now. Give me your keys now. Which one is your fucking car? Which one? Yeah.
After retrieving them, he runs to that individual's car as another officer arrives and attempts to engage him. They exchange a few shots, but Brockington eventually escapes onto the highway. Luckily, he didn't make it that far before he was apprehended by deputies and taken into custody. Horrific Chicago carjacking. A Wicker Park man was filling up his car at around 4 a.m. when he was approached by a group of men who immediately began to beat him savagely. The footage opens with the man entering the gas station, paying little attention to the multiple cars pulling in behind his. The 3 cars start to encircle the pump and one of the men boldly climb into the driver's seat. When the victim attempts to engage the man, one of his accomplices comes up and starts hitting him from behind, taking his car. Fortunately, a police officer drives by just a second later and the victim is able to flag them down. The car was found running just 4 blocks away, and though it was returned immediately, the carjackers were not caught. Bombing, carjacking, and the escape of Dongmeng. On the 15th of April 2013, 2 Chechen brothers, Dzhokhar and Tamerlan Zarnev, set off pressure cookers bombs close to the finish line of the Boston Marathon. Their act of terrorism will become known as the Boston Marathon bombing. 3 people lost their lives that day, while a further 281 were left with varying degrees of injuries. 3 days after that heinous crime was committed, the brothers were on the campus of Massachusetts Institute of Technology, where they murdered an MIT police officer after a failed attempt to steal his service weapon. They didn't stop there. They proceeded to Alston, where they carjacked a man named Fentanyl Man. Watch as they arrive at the gas station in the stolen SUV. Their victim is in there with them. Tamerlan Zarnev gets out of the car and walks into the gas station store. He walks around and grabs a packet of chips, which he opens immediately without paying. While he enjoys his chips, Fentanyl Man sees a small window of opportunity and takes it. Watch as he throws the back door open and runs off quickly. Zokar gets out of the car and walks into the store to find Tamerlan. You can see Tamerlan almost leaves the store in a hurry, but returns to drop off the goods he hadn't paid for. He even raised a hand in apology. Fentanyl Man seeks refuge at a different store at 816 Memorial Drive. He runs in, closes the door, and speaks quickly to the attendant, explaining the danger facing him before running to the back to hide. You can feel his terror as he gestures and tries to point out the SUV to the attendant. The store clerk was quick to call 911. He doesn't understand the full story, but he knows enough to call the authorities.
911 recorded line. Which
Hello, how are you, sir?
of your emergency?
Yeah, I am in mobile gas station, 816 Memorial Drive. I have one 816 Memorial Drive.
Correct. Is there any apartment number, sir?
No, 816.
I understand. 816 Memorial Drive. Is there a floor
gas
or an apartment?
mobile gas station.
The mobile gas station.
Yeah. I have one came inside now, and he told me one want to shoot him, and he stay inside and he want to leave.
Listen as the operator speaks to Meng while dispatch was already on its way. Meng's voice is all over the place. His fear is clear now, and it sends chills down the spine as you hear the tremors in his voice.
This happened to me.
Sir.
Someone took my car.
They took
and they want to steal my car down there.
Sir.
Sir, hello?
Sir, listen to me. I'm going to ask you a couple questions.
Sure.
When the cops arrive on the scene, you can finally breathe, and you can see Meng place a hand on his chest in relief. Tamerlan died in the manhunt, while Zokar was arrested and charged to court, where he received the death sentence for his numerous crimes. The Curious Case of Aaron Hernandez. Aaron Hernandez was the kid who had it all. He played college football for the University of Florida Gators before joining the NFL draft in his senior year at only 20 years old. He was selected in the 4th round by the New England Patriots, and in 2012 he made it to the Super Bowl with the team, managing to score a touchdown in a game they lost. In the same year, he signed a $40 million extension to his contract and received a $12.5 million bonus as well. He had it all, but his story bore more thorns than the roses on top. He was violent, and accusations trailed his life for a long time. In 2013, Aaron became friends with Odin Lloyd, a semi-professional football player who was dating the sister of his fiancée at the time. On the 17th of June, Odin was found murdered with multiple gunshot wounds close to Aaron's home in North Attleboro. Aaron's immediately became a lead suspect in what would eventually lead to his final unraveling. On the day Lloyd was murdered, he was picked up from his home by Aaron Hernandez and his friends, Carlos Ortiz and Ernest Wallace, an hour before he's murdered. On the same day that Lloyd was murdered, the same day we just saw Aaron and Ortiz at the gas station, seemingly inebriated, here's another video of the same man with another friend of theirs. Ernest Wallace was returning to Aaron's home in North Attleboro. The car's missing the driver's side mirror, and the three appear to be in a hurry to get into the house, ducking in before the garage door was fully opened. Aaron is captured moving around with a gun in his hand. An expert testified that the gun in Hernandez's hand in the clip is a Glock, and non-coincidentally, the murder weapon is a .45 caliber Glock pistol. Not just that, this video also shows Aaron with the gun in his hand before the murder and afterwards. Here's Aaron and Carlos Ortiz at the gas station on the same day Lloyd was shot 5 times. Watch as Aaron helps Ortiz into the car while he pumps gas. There's something off, especially in Aaron's behavior. He appears to be dancing before walking to the store, and later, when he gets out of the store, he walks by his car, still dancing. Again, he puts Ortiz into the back seat. Are they both inebriated? We can't tell for sure. A day later, Aaron was caught on camera after being questioned by the police, destroying his cell phone. While the cops were unable to determine the motive for the crime, Aaron was convicted of Odin Lloyd's murder and sentenced to life in prison. On the 19th of April, 2017, he hung himself in his cell. Catching a nap at a gas station. When cops receive a call that a woman was seen in her car napping at a gas station, they made their way down there quickly, tapping lightly on her window, hoping to ascertain what her issues might be.
Sheriff's office.
The moment the door opens, it's obvious she's under the influence of a hard substance. Her excuse was quick, almost practiced, as she explains that she's just there waiting for someone who was supposed to send her gas money.
I've been waiting for someone to send me money.
What's that?
I've been waiting on somebody to send me money for gas.
You're out of gas? You remember being woken up this morning?
Yes.
Jeez, when you can't
When the cops ask for her ID, she rummages through her bag in a disjointed manner and fails to produce it.
You have an ID with you? Do you mind if I look in there and look for your ID?
Yeah, I mind.
Okay. So you don't have a ID, driver's license?
ID number, that helps.
The conversation to this point is quite civil, with the officer exhibiting a tremendous amount of patience. But the more it went on, the more the woman began to feel like her rights are being violated.
What have I done wrong?
What's your first name?
Can I get answer, please?
Well, I'm asking you for your name, because I gotta make sure you're not one for me, where I gotta make sure the vehicle's not stolen.
I had a cop last night come bring me gas. That's how I got here.
She repeats her tale about waiting for Gash to purchase gas, and seeing how she is, the cops quickly throw the cuffs on while she tries to claim innocence.
Go and step out for me, okay? Step out.
What do you mean?
Go and step out.
Please talk to me.
We are, but we need you.
Don't such.
Okay.
No, y'all need to tell me now.
No, he's gonna talk to me first, and then we'll talk to you.
I have rights too, you know.
For someone who says she's waiting to receive money for gas, the cops find a $100 bill in her pocket without searching too hard. For the first time, it appears the car might have been stolen, and when asked how she knew the owner, she stutters, "I've known him for a while back."
From back on the 19th, this car being stolen.
On the 19th, from the man that went to jail that told me to drive it? No, you cannot arrest me for this car. I was given this car.
We're trying to
you want to see my text messages?
Just relax, okay? Right now you're being detained.
The 19th.
Until I can figure out what's going on with
Who was the 19th?
The rants switch to demands, and she demands that the cops call someone Sergeant Caleb.
You need to call Sergeant Caleb, like right now.
Sergeant who?
Caleb!
Who's Sergeant Caleb?
Well, you'll know when you call the number, it's in my phone.
A plethora of meth pipes are found in the car, proving that she had been under the influence of something pretty strong. The officers are astounded by how many of them they found in the car. The officer reads her the Miranda rights while she continues to rant at the cop and demand that her big name friend Sergeant Caleb is called.
You have the right to remain silent.
Do you hear me?
Anything you say can be used against you in court.
You need to call us first to figure out what's going on. Thank you.
You have the right to talk to a lawyer for advice while we ask you any questions and have him with you during questioning.
To make sure she heard and understood her rights, the officer read the Miranda rights twice. Just as she's unraveling, she claims to be a confidential informant.
Caleb is his name.
If he wants to talk to us, he can.
No, how's he gonna know? No, I'm not supposed to.
You want me to read your rights to you, yes or no?
Do you understand? Oh my God.
I don't care if you're a CI. But I don't care.
Okay, you're gonna care.
No, I don't.
The cops have to decide what to do with the stolen vehicle while the woman was locked in the police cruiser. Again, they explain to her why she's being arrested, but she won't stop yelling and ranting.
Sir, may I speak with you? They're trying to backpedal because they know they illegally searched my car. Why are you locking the door tighter? You think I'm gonna get out? You're weird.
The Stalker. How would you feel when a psycho stalker sticks a tracking device in your car? This young lady was having the worst time of her life as a serial stalker had attached a tracking device to her car. It was on the evening of September 7th, 2021, when she called 911 to report that someone was following her. When the officer responded, she explained that the stalker had stalked her in the past and stopped for a while, only to suddenly resurface in her life, calling everyone that knows her and looking everywhere for her.
He was looking for me for 2 days and calling different places, trying to find out where I was. He looking in parking lots for my car.
Okay.
Places where he thinks I'd be. And he finds my car, and I guess today is when he put a GPS tracker on my car.
He claims he put a GPS on it.
That's what he told me. He said it's on the left side tires. I don't know which tire it's under, but he said it's like a magnetic device that's stuck under my car.
He finally got across to her, asking questions about her affairs and stating that he had attached a tracking device to her car. While this officer speaks with the victim, another cop tracks the suspect to a gas station.
Hello. Hey, how are you? Good. My name's Officer Wyndham with the Johnson Police Department. I don't know what's going on today.
He doesn't lie. He confesses and begs to be let off the hook, and he won't do it again.
She might be with someone, so I thought to see where she was. That's all I did. I didn't do anything else. I never had any criminal history.
Okay.
Like that. I just wanted to see where she was and wanted to meet her.
The stalker explains that he'd known the victim for about 2 years. They'd been hanging out, not officially dating, and they tried to make things work. Listening to him speak, you can feel how dangerous and disturbed this individual is.
We hang out for 2 years.
You guys are like friends?
Yeah, kind of like friends.
Okay.
Not girlfriend, but so that's what I did, and I said I would never contact you again. I destroyed the device. please this one time let me go because I'm a student.
He attempts to call the victim while she's with the cops, and she was advised not to take his call. The stalker is asked to get out of the car and asked to explain what was really happening, and he goes on to tell an even more disturbing tale.
Go ahead and step out of the car for me and talk with me back here at your trunk, okay?
At this point, you begin to get chills and imagine the potential damage this man could have done. And worse still, the tracker had been there for almost a week.
Today?
Yeah, you said she was, you had knowledge she was going to a hotel?
Okay, she's day before yesterday night.
Yep.
She said, I said, well, where are you? We were planning to meet. So I said, where are you? She said, I have a problem with my roommates and I went to the hotel.
Okay.
She but have tracking device.
Which hotel did she go to?
Hampton.
Here in Johns Creek?
No.
Or closer?
Peachtree Corners.
Peachtree Corners?
So,
okay.
Since I have the last week tracking device, I never came back here.
The cops found the tracker and the stalker was arrested immediately.
I found it.
You found it?
Yep.
Oh my god!
Yep.
You can't get it?
No, I can't. I'll take a picture of it.
How did they do that?
All right, at this time, you're under arrest for unlawful surveillance, okay?
When will I get out?
The victim opted out of pressing charges. It's satisfying to hear her agree to press charges, especially when you imagine the enormous danger she was in.
All right, so
Yes.
you're saying you want to press charges.
Yes.
So, what I'm going to need from you is if I give you a piece of paper, could you write down everything that happened?
Drive-by shooting. The cops had originally stopped a drunk driver and were questioning him when a worse crime was committed in the immediate vicinity.
I know what y'all gonna do. So that's what I said.
You got your ID.
What does that matter? Am I being detained?
Oh, absolutely. You got an open bottle of liquor. I can cite you and arrest you.
No, I said, am I being detained?
Yes.
Got body camera
The
on?
body camera's on.
Yeah, body camera.
Yeah, but it's working. Yeah, that's what I just asked him. He said he's being detained, so I need your ID. I didn't hear that part. Let's go.
A shooter simply drove by and let loose, firing live rounds into the gas station parking lot.
See? Now what? So now what?
Where is that? Right there. 11, 13 shots fired.
Now what? Now what? Are you scared now?
Detroit and Central, get a vehicle taken off.
The cops immediately abandon the drunk driver and head off after the shooter. The sirens come alive and information is circulated as the cops swing into action, chasing the blue SUV from which the shots were fired.
Still trying to catch up to the car. We're going westbound Central. We're approaching North Cove, but it's past North Cove. There's a car here. That might be it.
1113 is in pursuit of a vehicle outbound Central.
The chasing cops keep the information line open as it appears their car can't keep up with the chase. The perp had shot twice at them, but they were undeterred.
Heading back. They're heading back towards the street right here.
They jump out and continue on foot, their shoes slapping the earth hard as they run. They couldn't believe that they had lost him. You can hear the cop breathing hard.
Heading towards Blanchard. Towards Blanchard.
I got no eyes, no eyes.
The shooter was soon found, crouching under a truck with an automatic rifle. The cops arrest him immediately.
Shove it in hands! All the way out! Throw it out! Throw it out! Roll it to me! I got cover here! Roll it to me! Here, cover.
Drag him out. I got cover.
Hands behind his back, cuff him.